out. The third one is down 0-2 in his very first series, or actually lost his first series of the day, and now has to play 2 best-of-3s with his tournament live on the line. However, I still believe in Teja. I do think we're going to see much more of a fighting spirit of him in the next 2 best-of-3s, because WCS America is such a big tournament, and Teja has to know, with some of those big favorites dropping out already that this is a tournament where he has a massive shot at taking the title home for the first time, as he has never won a WCS championship.
Like you said, he's been playing some of the best StarCraft that we've seen from him off of summer seasons ever. So I'm anxious to see what Teja's next match is going to look like for certain. I fully expect that he can make it to the final match at least.
Over here in the top side of Polar Knight, in a second best-of-3 of the day, we've got the very charming and charismatic Protoss player representing Team Axiom. He is Crank. I almost want to say alive, that would have been bad. Crank made a funny tweet like 2-3 weeks ago saying that his teammates were putting extra pressure on him because both Alicia and Hart already made it to the WCS America round of 16. And he's like, oh, these noobs are advancing. That means I have to advance too, otherwise I'm the worst. It seems that they always seem to have such a cool and fun vibe around the team, such a fun atmosphere to be in, I guess.
That's a fantastic confidence to have going into something. Not that, it's almost as if the onus of the pressure isn't on him, but like of his own expectation, but just like, I got to keep up with my teammates at least.
Over here on the south side of Polar Knight, we got the Red Terran player, a former EG player, currently still teamless. He is alive. Alive was actually one of the most consistent players in not just WCS America in 2013, but in WCS in general. He made it all the way to BlizzCon. He was also the only player that made it into the playoffs of a Continental Finals twice. Or at least he made it into the playoffs of Gamescom, which was probably the tournament of his not life, because he once upon a time was like the absolute best, where he won IPL 4 and stuff. But I still think that Gamescom was a remarkable performance by Alive. It was one of the best Alives that we've seen in a very long time. And even in WCS America, he's been very solid. He made it to the top 8 at least twice. Played good series against the absolute best that we had to offer. So he was a consistent force, and he easily made it to BlizzCon with all those WCS points he gathered last year as well. Like, I think he qualified as like 8th or 9th or something like that.
Yeah.
So very good. Very good 2013.
This is kind of one of the things that I'm thinking about Alive, is I'm really curious. You mentioned like IPL. Yeah, I was IPL. I think it was IPL 4. Excuse me. As I'm thinking through it. So Alive, with these great performances in the past, at times people were like, "Is Alive the best Terran in the world?" Right? And then Alive like disappeared in terms of performance. And then we saw this huge resurgence last year, like exactly what you were saying, performing so well in the WCS. And I'm wondering what Alive comes out in 2014. Is it the Alive, from Gamescom that plays this well? Or even, you look at his performance at BlizzCon, and yeah, he fell 0-3 to Polt, but Polt at that time, a lot of people were expecting Polt to maybe even take the entire BlizzCon, And so, even going into that round of 16. So, from here, what kind of Alive are we going to see? Well, we're about to find out versus Crank, who I think is coming into this with a lot of confidence, and confidence is a heavy hammer in StarCraft.
This could be a little bit annoying already. One SCV will go down, but this bunker will finish up in time. So the command center first opening, while that one Marine actually made it in time in his bunker as well. When you open up like Crank did over here, wow, I'm having a really hard time speaking in this game so far. You're hoping that you can at least delay that bunker a little longer. You can be very annoying with your mothership core, and your Marine or your Stalker can start poking on these Marines here and there, pick off a few SCVs, pick off a few Marines in the process. Alive getting that bunker down in time and not really taking any damage, even though this mothership core is doing some work. Actually getting 2 kills. So overall, this worked out okay for Crank. If he didn't get those 2 SCVs, I don't think he was too happy with it. Right now, it was 3 SCVs for the grand total of 1 Zealot. Like, that's something I could live with. That's all right.
Yeah, I was a little surprised the Zealot continued to chase to the left, but overall, I think Crank did open with those 2 Stalkers behind the Zealot and fast Mothership Core. We've seen people die to that pressure, simply put.
Yep.
So this was a great hold from Alive.
Yeah, as silly as that may sound, guys, Kibbles is absolutely right. If you do not get your bunker up in time, there's a moment where the second Stalker arrives as well, and then it's 2 Stalkers and a Mothership Core in a wide open area like this, where there's no high ground vision, or, well, even if there was, then there's still a Mothership Core, but where there's just no cover for Marines, you can straight up die to that. If you're greedy with your bunker, if you delay it, you will just die. Yep. But fortunately for Alive, that did not happen. Crank dropped one of his very first pylons over here on the right top side of the map, and I was kind of wondering about it. Why is he doing that? Well, that's just too high tech. Most likely Alive will throw down a scan in the main base. Actually, he already did. No, this was SUV Scout, I guess.
Yeah, so I want to tell you, Roddy, what actually just happened up there is that Alive brought in an SCV, managed to get it all the way to the back, and Crank was throwing down a Forge. It worked out as conveniently as it could because it looked like the SCV wasn't going to make it to scout the Forge. It did. Crank then canceled the Forge.
Oh.
So right now, Alive thinks that maybe there's a Forge, probably a Forge researching something because there was nothing else in the base. Well, yeah, that's because it's outside the base in the form of a Twilight Council researching Blink.
Of course, Polar Knight is a popular map for these crazy Blink Stalker builds, and Crank probably won't do this over massive economy. You can see that right now it's already 32 against 33, so Alive with a work lead. Crank is not paying attention. He's going to lose his Stalker. Well done here by Alive, and I can guarantee you, as a Protoss player, you're so mad at yourself every single time this happens because you know it shouldn't.
And Alive is going to be nothing but short of ecstatic when this attack comes in. He's throwing down a reactor on his factory. In this situation, I mean, Roddy, siege tanks work really well when you got to face off against Blink Stalkers, and that's not what he's going to have.
Oh, the Mothership Core is out of position.
Most likely,
Time Warp will go down, but the Mothership Core, okay, it survives for now, but not before that this pylon is going to fall, and this is perfect by Alive. We have seen this so often in the Intox 3 Masters Cologne. The true way, or maybe not the true way, but one of the best ways for a Terran player to deal with these crazy Blink builds is to prevent it from happening, prevent it from really going up close to your base. Instead of worrying about sitting in your bunkers and waiting until it hits, just go out there and try to disturb the process of a Protoss player that's trying to make his way across the map, and this has been nothing but fantastic so far for Alive.
It looks like that's exactly what Alive's going to be trying to do here. He's moving out across the map. It's going to leave him a little vulnerable at home because, well, the Stalkers did head down the right-hand side of the map. This could get interesting.
Stim is ready in 5 seconds. He could stim a small portion of this army. Crank is microing a little bit, but this bio hit spot, I don't think that... okay, Crank is coming in with the other Stalkers. Alive should just stim right now and actually kill units instead of just sitting here and losing everything.
Yeah, it looks like his entire force is going to be cleaned up. This actually puts Alive in a really difficult position. That Stalker does not go down. The Marine's not firing at the red Stalker. All right, so Crank, guys, he's got 11, 12 Stalkers. There's 8 bio units on the map right now. Just went up to 10. That's it.
This is indeed pretty good. Alive didn't get the damage there done that I thought he would, because it seemed like a good idea to me, and I think in general it can be a good idea, but Crank did a very good job in like bringing in his Stalkers in a safe position, buying time with his other 3 Stalkers. Alive, you have to be very careful. He's going to try to go out once more. He will stim in forward, but he only has like 4 or 5 Marauders right now. There are like 16 Stalkers on the map. Crank is super all in with this because he's down like 12 workers, but I think it's good enough.
Beautiful time warp. Beautiful blink, Kevin. There were 5 damaged Stalkers that didn't go down. That's it. GG goes down for Alive. Crank takes game number 1.
Alive getting a little too over eager there, I think. Like, he did such a